Now, Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon.
We're speaking with guitarist Stevie D from Buckcherry, one of my
Mitch
favorite bands.
Lafon,
Yes, Mr.
my
Lafon
favorite journalist
from
in all the
Montreal.
world.
You know,
In all the world,
thank you.
really.
Well, I appreciate that. Hopefully, it's because I always support the band and
No,
always
you have
talking
for
about
years
them.
and years and years. Thank you for all the love. We
Uh,
we appreciate it. You know,
and I
I was
kid you
talking to my
not,
manager about you, and he loves you too, Larry Mazer.
Larry is fantastic. He, of course, managed Kiss in the Revenge era, and he managed Cinderella, Lamb of God, and
Yeah, he always
uh,
says to give him my best. So
I love them, but here I'll scroll down. You see that? Look at that. Look at this Buckcherry playlist. Oh, you can't see it because of
oh,
it's
the
disappearing, but
green screen.
it's 204 songs, my friend.
My
204
goodness.
songs. Well, in fact,
Thank
let's
you.
start there. We'll talk
Yeah.
about Kevin
Mm-hmm.
leaving. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. Rodigan?
Rentgen.
Re-
Rentgen.
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 Rent.
Rentgen. Yeah.
Yeah, he has left the band. We'll talk about that, but you are doing the Buckcherry acoustic stuff. There's like
Yes.
what, 4 songs
Unplugged.
available now?
4 songs, a couple more coming. Um,
Yeah.
and there's another surprise song that's coming out that we're gonna do here shortly. We're actually doing it this week, Josh and I. So that's in the works. But look for 2, maybe 3 more songs.
Of the acoustic.
Right, right.
Will that at some point for these old dogs be put on a like myself, put on a some kind of EP that we'll be able to buy from the band's website or something?
I
Because
think so. We've been talking to Larry about it and our new label Roundhill, and I think we'll do something like that in the future.
okay,
Uh,
Round Hill's
poss-
out of the UK, right?
no, they're out of Nashville.
Oh, Rounder is that? Well, anyway, okay, so
Yeah,
that good.
yeah.
Okay, so good. Hopefully that'll come out. So let's quickly talk then. We'll talk more about the acoustic stuff. But
Yes.
Kevin announced via his Facebook that he needed to step away and spend more time with his family, which
Hmm. It's a
how are you going to
beautiful
fault a
thing.
guy for spending time with their family? Oh no,
You can't,
you know.
like I've known Kevin since we were kids, and we talked early on about joining back up. We've crossed paths throughout our careers, and it came to a point where I think he just needed to be more, spend more time at home. Simple as that. And us being dads, we totally understood. So yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
get it
simple.
now.
Like there's no drama, there's no no hard feelings, no nothing. I love him, and you know, it's he's got to do what he's got to do, and you know,
We're going to
moving
move
forward.
on. Well,
Yeah.
and I have to say it is disappointing in the sense because I thought the unit live was just you were hitting it, you know.
Oh
There,
yeah.
there was a time at the end of the Kevin era uh,
Yeah.
uh, uh, where it didn't seem, and now there was this like joy, and there was this thing, and it just looked
Sure.
it looked
Yeah.
fantastic.
Well, it was a
Um,
cohesive unit, and he's an amazing player. He's an amazing singer, and you know, on and off stage, we all got along like brothers because we've known each other for so long. So that showed on stage as well. So, you know, um,
yeah, and I think I said Kevin. I meant at the end of the Keith era, it
oh,
seemed like it was a little bit like what's going on here. And then the new band came in with Francis and Kevin, and
right,
I was all of a sudden it was like, oh,
right.
okay, all right, they're
Yeah,
back.
yeah. I mean, it was exactly that. We had gone down that road for a long time, and we were tired. We over toured. So, uh, at the end of I don't even know how many years it was, but 2000, let's say 10, 12 years, uh, maybe more, 13. Anyway, so we were tired, and we were told to take a break, and we did, and then we wanted, a few of us wanted to get back to work, so you know.
So you did, and Warpaint
Yeah,
came out, and I thought Warpaint was a
yeah,
fantastic album. I especially liked
yeah.
some of the covers, like Jungle Love you covered for I think maybe
For
the
Japan.
Japanese market. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's great. It's a
yeah.
great
That
song.
was yeah, a lot of people didn't get to hear that, but we're huge Prince fans, the time, and it was a fun recording, you know.
Where Prince, you did Erotic City, but that was with Josh Todd and the
And the conflict, yeah.
and the Conflict. Okay, yeah, I've
Yeah.
got all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a crazy fan.
Also fun. And I think I just posted the video. We did 3 videos for that album and with Chris Cafaro, legendary photographer, and he gave us 3 videos, and that was one of them, which we never put out until maybe a month ago. We put out what was it? The, I
I
can't
can't
remember.
remember. Well, we'll look it up and
Anyway,
we'll tell fans later. But
yeah. There's a
but
lot of stuff out there if you want to watch
yeah,
and listen.
and I do want to get to who's going to be the new guitarist in a minute. But let me just quickly talk about family.
Yes,
And you talk about being on the road too much. Now you're in a situation where you've been forced off the road, whether you
yeah,
like to or not,
since
uh,
February.
since February.
Yeah,
How devastating or relaxing? I mean, it could be positive as well. Has it been? I mean, it's obviously great to be at home and be with the family and resting, but
sure.
you've also got to feed the family and give them a
Yeah.
home to live in.
Well,
So,
this has been our way of providing uh, in many ways. Touring, and it used to be selling albums, but now touring has been the only the main source of income for all of us. And since COVID and well, we finished up touring in February, and then COVID hit. We were supposed to get back on the road that second week of March, and then it started falling in line. Like March started getting canceled, then April, May, June, July, and it's just happened through for the rest of the year. So we've just been having to get creative to provide for our families, you know. So it's not easy. The silver lining in all of this has been I've gotten closer with my son. You know, it's that too isn't easy. You know, homeschooling or distance learning as they call it. Um, it's not easy. Tension runs high at the D household. You know what I mean? But we also because there's also not a lot of socializing. So it's just it for months. It was just me and him here at the house. So now when as time went on, he's got some buddies that we hang out with, and so two there's Callan and then Josh's boy, Jack. You know, we get out and see them at the playground. But yeah, I mean, the silver lining is definitely gotten getting closer with him.
with him, yeah, and I'm sort of in the same situation where I'm home all the time with my son, and we've been together. My wife goes and does her stuff, and my daughter does her own stuff. But
Hmm.
me and my son, we've been sort of in this part of the house since March, and it just is. But the good thing is that he's 14, so he goes on PlayStation and he does his whole
Yeah,
social PlayStation thingy majiggy. I come and do interviews when I see people like you, and I do that. So
yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for that iPad, boy, it'd be really tough. You know, I in the beginning, March and April, it was raining a lot. We were trying to get out. It wasn't so hot, so we were skateboarding, playing baseball in the front, kickball. You know, it was all these physical activities, which was great. And then cut to it gets to be hot out here, and it's you know usually it's beautiful weather in California, but this summer it's been unseasonably hot. So 108, you know, it's been over 100 this last week. So um, it's been a lot of indoor stuff. So
yeah, I mean, you go outside for 10
iPad,
minutes and you have to give up. I mean,
yeah. Fortnite, like a lot of people would judge me on letting a 5-year-old, he's turning 6 shortly, but letting a 5-year-old play Fortnite. But you help me out with some alternatives and
Well,
solution to
I'm
being in
actually
front of.
not. I'm going to encourage it because no, but I'm not a video gamer myself, but I
Right.
did do a master's in psychology, and I'll tell you this: there is in that imaginary world, you have to construct anticipation. So as a player, you have to guess what's going to come next, and anticipation is a good skill.
Yeah,
There is
yeah,
a mathematical skill to going on to stuff.
yeah,
It does create a sense of community because you're part of the Fortnite community and the
yeah.
gaming
And
community
he
and
does talk to some of the other kids on there. He's got,
right.
I'm careful about who I let in to his camp,
Right. It
and
can't be a free for all, but if you're doing
right,
it right. But
right,
the other
right.
thing is that people say, well, it's they do play murder and play shooting and play this and all that, and
Yeah.
at the same time you go to school and they'll make you read Shakespeare, and there'll be people getting killed there. So it's like, well, what's the
Right.
difference?
It's a little bit more graphic, but
Yes,
I
true,
but
but
we've had sit downs, talking about, okay, this isn't real and this isn't
yes,
good. We don't do this outside of this game, and
fair enough.
he's fully aware. He's a smart kid. So,
But there
I
are
think,
math skills involved.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
There are.
that's right.
And listen, if he does it long enough, maybe he'll become a professional, coder or game
You never
designer.
know. There's his buddy is already getting into that, and he's 7.
Right.
You know, it's crazy the how advanced they are compared to, like, dude, I was not on anything remotely like this. Um, we were watching Sesame Street this morning, and I was just like, this was as advanced as it got for me at 5. You know what I mean? And he is bored to tears when like, it's a school day, so we're gonna have breakfast, and if you're gonna watch TV, it's gonna be Sesame Street, and he wants to watch videos on YouTube, of some kid named Ryan who's a multi-gajillionaire playing with toys. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway,
I don't know. I don't know.
it's all
I
good.
just
Like, I'm making the best of having to be quarantined. Um, as I think I can. You
right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
yeah,
I'm
fucking
all for
judge me.
playing the video games thing just because when you go read a book, you're usually alone under a tree
Yeah,
and there's no socializing. So people seem to forget that the gaming community actually gives you a form of socializing that,
yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
That I'm pro.
yeah.
I don't even play video games, but when I see my son playing and talking, I'm like, okay, good. It's better
Yeah.
than.
All the unless you're a parent, um, like, and you got to be a parent to understand. You know what I mean? And a parent during quarantine, COVID, this isn't easy. Every parent I know has an iPad around for the kid, and they're probably on it a little bit more
Than usual.
than yeah,
That's
than
whatever.
usual.
I'm
Than
fine with
they
it.
admit, but
Now, in terms of the band, in terms of getting back out and
yeah,
play,
let's get back to music.
no, not to get away from your son, but in terms of the band though, and getting back out, the fact that you can't play right now or as much as you want,
Yeah.
is it to the point where it's financially devastating, where you might have to consider, I'm gonna have to go work at whatever Ralph's supermarket. And I don't mean to be disparaging, but that's like, are
Yeah,
we at
yeah.
that point, or are we still like,
No,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's we did really well in 2019, and there's resources that that we use to stay alive, but we do have to we do need to get to work soon. You know what I mean? And I believe that we're going to be flying out to Wisconsin to do a virtual event. That's what I was just told. And
We're back here for a second part with Stevie D of Buckcherry. The video had started faltering on us, but it looks good now. It looks stable. We
yep,
were talking about touring and some of the opportunities. I think we lost part of that, but you said you were flying out, I believe, to Wisconsin, or as my computer was, I'm flying out to
Yeah.
Wisconsin. And either way,
I'm flying out to ayahuasca, and we're going to do a virtual event that people all over the world can sign into and buy a ticket. And if they want, buy merch. And if they want, you can even get a meet and greet. I think the meet and greets are a couple minutes or something like that. Clutch, I think, just did it and it worked out for them. But bands are doing
Trivium. Hey,
bands,
listen,
bands are
Trivium
doing
just
it.
did one.
Oh, okay.
12,000 tickets sold, $180,000 profit, or
Wow.
or gross. That was reported by Billboard.
Wow. Okay.
And I don't mean to be disparaging to Trivium. I think they're a great band, but
Yeah.
they're not an arena act that gets 12,000 people. They're a smaller act that gets 2,000-3,000. So suddenly
Sure.
this virtual thing is like 6 times the audience
Absolutely. Yeah.
and almost $200,000. So
Yeah.
yes,
Great.
it's difficult
Good
to
for
go
them.
play to the bars and to play the, but
I mean, bars are shutting their doors.
right.
Clubs are shutting their doors. Theaters are shutting their doors. They can't sustain themselves. So, like I said, and bands are hanging it up because this is their main source of income, and they need to feed their families. We need to feed our families. So, with the help of guys like Larry Mazer, we're going to go out and get creative so we can keep doing this. You know?
And before we start wrapping up, and I do want to get to who the new guitarist is, but in terms of these clubs and they're saying that up to 8 out of 10 bars and clubs might close. That's 80%, which means that let's say you go, okay, well, into 2021 we're going to go tour. Now you've got 80% less places to go. Routing is going to become a nightmare. It'll be, Friday in New Mexico, Saturday in Boston. You're going to go, how the fuck are we going to do that?
Yeah. That's not going to be easy because if that's the routing, that tour won't take place. You
Right.
know what I mean?
But that's what's going to happen, though.
If we have like 24 hours to get from one end of the country to the other,
It's not happening.
that's not happening. So I don't know. I hope when things open back up, probably after the elections and probably after COVID dies down. It's dying down now. Hopefully it'll bounce back to a place where bands can play or bars can open, clubs can open. I mean, it eventually will, but hopefully in time for bands just not to go away or
Right.
bars to shut down.
Yeah, because I mean, and I'll get off the negative in a second, but I just see it where if you're Madonna or Kiss or whatever, you can go play the Staples Center or the whatever stadium,
Sure.
and that'll still be there. I'm
Yep.
just worried for a lot of the bands that don't play those places. They're just going to have a hard time. And I think American bands in particular, they're going to be like, I'm going to go do a European tour, and whatever. Italy's going to say, no, you're not. You're not coming here. So it's just going to be like, wow, I got no place to play in my backyard. Now I can't go to Europe. Now,
Yeah. We were supposed to be in Canada in October.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's already been canceled. That got canceled
Real quick.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it was hanging on until about. I didn't get word that got canceled till maybe a week or two ago. So.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's the playing field is going to be littered or peppered with landmines for bands, and I just don't know how you're going to manage. Hopefully, you'll manage. Hopefully, the bands will exist.
Yeah.
At least
it will. It will. It just some of these bands might go away for a little bit and then they'll find a way to come back. You know what I mean? Some of these clubs will go away and then new ones will be started. You know what I mean? Some of these clubs will come back too. Some won't. You know what I mean? So it's just the unfortunate reality of all this mess.
Right. And the unfortunate reality is that it's probably going to stretch out by this turnover for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And anyway, whatever. Let's get to the positive.
Yeah.
You have.
What's the sunshine in the day? Come on, Mitch.
So sorry for being such a
Give
downer, but
me a little something to look forward to.
well, listen, you can come back to Canada at some point, even But you do have you are working on a new album. You just
Yes,
received
sir.
there an email about a new mix.
Yeah.
What's the direction? I mean, you've got Francis Ruiz in there, who of course
Yes, you do.
was
Kelly Lemieux, huh?
yeah. Well, I was going to say he was a tech for Slayer for what 10 years, and
Yes.
Scorpions for another.
Scorpions,
So he's got
Motorhead,
yeah
played with Motorhead.
yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. I can't even tell you. He's our connection. He at least brought us a little closer together. But yeah, I can't say enough great things about Francis. He's been a godsend.
What's it going to be like though to have him on drums for his first Buckcherry album? Because I know live he was doing his own little fills. He was doing his own little thing, and
Yeah.
I thought they sounded great.
Yeah, we told him that I mean he's a grown ass man, and the music, everyone knows the music, but I I told him in the beginning, like learn all this stuff, get it under your hands and just make it your own, you know what I mean? And that's what he did, and the music um is still great, you know what I mean? Um this next album, his meter is great. So I have no doubts about. We've already recorded, um, I don't know, maybe 8+ songs, um, just demos of stuff. And he did it out of Texas and sent the files back to me. And he's amazing. He's creative, uh, and he's also his meter is great. So I don't. I don't. I don't see any issues going into this next album, being I think it'll be better than our last one as far as the drums go. So,
There you go. That's high praise, and
yeah.
I'm sure it will be. I think he's great, and I've loved him since Samantha 7. So hey,
Yeah.
that great
Yeah.
band. All right,
Yeah.
the guitarist situation guy.
Yeah.
So one guy left. We've got
Yeah.
another guy in. It hasn't been announced yet. Do we announce it? Do we
I
not?
mean, it's right now, Kevin left, and then so what we did in the interim is we started rehearsing with Billy Rowe from Jet Boy,
Great
and
guy. Great guy.
great guy, great guitar player, also a great luthier and guitar builder, and he owns Rock and Roll Relics. I don't know if you're familiar with that guitar company, but um, yeah, he's right in line. He's been in the scene, in the Hollywood scene for a long time, and likes a lot. Came up on a lot of the same music that we did. He's the same age, same type of player, and he's the type of player that's more along the lines of, let's say, Keith Richards, Izzy Stradlin, that kind of thing. Billy Rowe, he's got his own thing. So, which is, I think, really compatible with what Buckcherry does.
I
So,
agree. And I think that the whole Jet Boy vibe, or, there's sort of a punk vibe going on there in a sense. I
yeah,
think he's going to bring that
yeah,
style to what Buckcherry does, and I think it's
yeah. I
perfect.
mean, I think there's a lot of similarities in both bands. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? There's a punk vibe, but there's also the rock and roll vibe, the AC/DC vibe, and the Rolling Stones vibe. Like he's got all that underneath his hands. So, um, yeah, and he's a great slide player. So I'm looking forward to recording with him, or and/or touring and all that
yeah.
stuff.
Now
We're just seeing where it goes right now.
you know
We're in the honeymoon phase.
we're in the honeymoon phase. Well, I hope it
Yeah,
lasts, and you have
yeah,
covered Rock and Roll Damnation before, so maybe with Billy
yeah,
you can do, I don't know, Start Me Up,
yeah.
or Stone song or something.
Yeah,
You
who
know,
knows?
so there we
Yeah,
go. So that's
yeah.
the news of the day that
The news of the day.
is.
On this day in 19, I don't know. I,
It's
I
funny.
love those little rock and roll trailers. Billy is also a a massive rock and roll historian,
Right.
much like yourself.
Right.
So, you know, he might not post like you do about in this day in 1987, you know, Motley Crue
Motley
came out
Crue.
with it.
You know what's funny
But
about that stuff?
but he knows about all that stuff. Like he
Is
gets deep too.
before I started doing the On This Day stuff, I had about 500 Twitter followers.
Hmm.
Started doing the On This Day stuff, went to 1,000. Then I went to
Hmm.
2,000. Then I went to
Yeah.
3,000.
Yeah.
I'm currently flirting with
You're
20,000, and I'm doing 8
Wow.
million Twitter impressions a month.
Wow.
That is 96
amazing.
million Twitter impressions a year, which is
That's
significant. So when I
Yeah.
tweet something, it
Yeah.
gets seen by 90 or potentially seen by 96 million people a year. So
Yeah.
I know
It's
people.
weird. I good for you. I have you know, I stopped tweeting like a year and a half ago. I've got, you know, I think I got around 10,000, 15,000 followers, and then I was like, for some reason I just stuck with Instagram, and then even now I'm, you know, after this year, it's just I felt like it was hard to post stuff that was important, like I felt like what I was posting was like this isn't important, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Well, it's funny,
Um,
I took to my socials and I said at the beginning of COVID, at the end of March or whatever, I said, should I just stop while this is going on? And the
yeah, yeah,
fans wrote in and said, no, 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 we need a little
yeah,
sunshine on
yeah,
the
right,
cloudy
right,
day.
right.
And
I
I was
get
like,
that. That's
okay,
cool. That's right. You should be that little break, like, and because there's so much depressing stuff. Like if I can't have the news on for too long before I'm walking around pissed off, you know what I mean? So anyway, yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, keep it going. What you're doing is awesome.
yeah, and we're back to squelching. So on that, I will say thank you so much. Always a pleasure. We will